going on, guys? Backyard garage. So we got a video for you today because why not? A little more than just blowing up a pumpkin. A little more interesting than that. So let's have a look see. Now here's what we got going on here. We're at the bench, the good old bench. This is a dormant glow plug module. It's a glow plug controller for a OM642 Mercedes-Benz V6 diesel, and I don't know if you can hear that. Basically, it shouldn't make noise. It's actually worse. I just put it back together. I took it out, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, looks like somebody fucking super glued it shut. And they did. They indeed did. I took a box cutter here and just put my knife under the corner of it and started to pry it off. And of course, there's water and everything in it, so it's fucked for sure. Funny thing is, it's actually not setting an engine light. So I'm going to go back and install this in the vehicle, and then I'll start then I'll start the video again and show you exactly what this is out of and what's going on. So I got to install this back in the vehicle. I did super glue it shut and dry it out. The reason why I got to install it again is because it's Sunday. You can actually, I don't know, the camera's going to pick it up real well. Let's see. You can see kind of around the pins are starting to get a little melty. And but yeah, I got to put this back in the vehicle because it is Sunday and I need to drive the vehicle. So I'm not going to be able to get one today, but I will get a new one tomorrow, and that's important because without this, the remote start doesn't work. It'll just crank and crank and crank and crank and crank. And it doesn't want to go. So anywho, let me get this back in and I'll show you exactly what's going on. Alright, here's our OM642 that we're working on. There's a glow plug controller. I just stuffed it back in there for now. Now, see that wire? I just repaired that wire. I put it back together. Someone had cut it and connected it here. This runs in to the dash to a toggle switch, like a sprung toggle switch. So it would power up the glow plug control module for just a second. Or I guess that's how you would power the glow plug control module. And then you could start the engine when it's really cold out, like today, -10 this morning. The problem is, doing it this way, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know why anybody would have done this unless there was a malfunction somewhere else that was keeping the glow plugs on all the time. Now when you key on, you should have power here all the time. You should have power on this heavier wire all the time. This is a relay essentially, but it's a module. So this heavy wire goes down to the starter. This is what supplies your glow plugs with their power. Should be 4.4 volts coming out of this plug. Now I don't know that yet because I'm at home, so I don't have a lot of my professional tools here. Just I got what I got. Now you have 6 wires coming out of here. They all go to your glow plugs. Then you have a ground and a power, which is your control, or your power for your control board inside here. And then you'll have a data link wire, which talks to the computer, which is down underneath the battery. So you should have power and ground on here whenever you have your key on all the time, and your computer will control. It will tell the glow plug module when to be running. It gets its information from 2 places: the oil temperature sensor, I believe, and the ambient air temperature sensor, I believe. I believe those are the 2. Don't quote me on it. Like I said, I'm at home, so I don't have all my professional equipment or all data, computer or anything like that right now, so I'll have to look some of this stuff up tomorrow. So unless there's a malfunction with some, like an oil temperature sensor or an ambient air temperature sensor, which the ambient air temperature on the dash is reading correctly, so I can't see that being a problem, but maybe the oil temperature sensor. And maybe it's keeping it on all the time and it was burning out glow plugs or modules or whatever, I don't know. It's obviously going to be an underlying issue. However, I'll get more into that in a second. Let me put this all back together so we can actually run it properly. Alright, I got to throw them back together. It is, the engine is cold now, so what I'm going to do is, well, first of all, it's cold, so I know that before the remote start was not working because without pushing the toggle switch on the dash, the glow plugs wouldn't come on. So now they should be coming on exactly as everything is supposed to. This is no longer hooked up and doing anything. And so what we want to do now, I'm going to hold this button over here down because else it won't start because the hood's open. I'm going to hit the remote start. It should fire up, no problem at all. I'm going to lift up on that button. It'll stall, but then we'll start it with a key. I'm going to let it warm up, and I'm going to run out and get some diesel fuel for my heater in my shop. And it should get pretty warm, or warmer anyways, enough so where the glow plugs aren't going to be running constantly. Basically getting up to operating temp. Then I'm going to pull one of the easier glow plugs to pull out, which would be, oops, where are we here? That one right there. It's really easy to get to. And then we'll just do a couple key on sessions and make sure that it comes on and then shuts off, and then that'll tell me that the module is working. Now, like I said, water came out of it and the board is loose inside, so I'm sure it's no good, but I guess we'll find out here in a minute. Enough of my jibber jabbering. I gotta hold this button down. Easier said than done. I'll just use my hand like that and push 2 times. Get the honk. Alright, see, no problem. Okay. Perfect. Very good. Alright. There we go. Now we'll just start it with the key. Oh. Everybody's wondering what the hell's going on. Oh, look at that. It's even got new car fucking floor mat thingies on there. There you go. Here, see. See about the glow plug light dash, or light on the dash. Yeah, it comes on. See, it's cycling as it's supposed to, so that tells me that it's telling the computer all the right things. So, okay, see, now we got an engine light. Interesting. That's probably because I did a key on with it unplugged. Let me grab my scanner and we'll check that. Okay, as you can see, it says lost communication with glow plug control module, and that's just simply because I did turn the key on with the module unplugged, and that was to test for power on those pins before I made that discovery of they had that wire completely cut and had it ran through the switch. So anyway, what we're going to do is just delete that. Erase in progress. Key off. We'll go. There you go. Key on. Alright, everything looks good. Perfect. Okay, alrighty. Check that one more time. There you go, no problem. No problem, Mr. Hat. Okay, alright, let's back. So, here we go. 2008 Grand Cherokee. Diesel. That's where I picked it up from. They just wholesaled it to me cheap because, of course, there's some issues with it. I picked it up for $4,000 Canadian. It's got 280,000 kilometers on it. It's a little high. It's about 174,000 miles. But it runs great, as you can hear. It's just that one issue with the glow plug control module. They went and stuffed this fucking switch in the dash right there. So if you wanted to, well, obviously not even if you wanted to, you have to warm the glow plugs up. You had to hold that for a few seconds and then you could start the car. After I started, doing some digging on this thing, I found out I don't think the switch is necessary. I don't know why anybody would have put it in. I have no idea why somebody would have done that. So it's completely stupid. The problem with it is that I got this car for a winter vehicle because I'm getting rid of the Das Auto, and mostly because I just like these a lot better. I like 4x4s, and there's more room for the family. So yeah, again, I have no idea why anybody would have put this in. So that's basically what we're going to find out over the next couple of days. So far we got no engine light, other than just that code from unplugging it when I had the key on. But so we'll plug in the scanner again after, and we'll make sure that everything's still okay. But right now we're going to go warm it up. So the biggest issue with this is when you do your remote start, which is really what I wanted for the winter, it doesn't work because today was -10. Right now it's -8 still. It's still quite cold out. This morning was -10, and I can't obviously turn the glow plug controller on from inside my house, so I'd have to come out and start it that way anyways, which is what I've been doing with that fucking car for 8 years. So I'm sick of this crap. I want it to work properly, so let's fix it up. This is the biggest issue that was wrong with this vehicle and why I got it real cheap. I guess no one could figure it out. Well, it wasn't that fucking hard, was it? Worst case scenario, like I said, some water even came out of that glow plug controller, so it might actually be no good. It's running really well. It's not running as if the glow plugs are still running, like, because normally you can tell, but it will cycle them like a diesel's supposed to until you get up to operating temperature. So I'll show you the two other things that are wrong with this thing. I got my gas can. We're gonna go fill her with diesel. I got this all ripped apart. Don't worry, all the parts are here and everything. There's the factory Boston Acoustics amp, and due to a condensation issue or something, like, these plugs are just fucked in here. There you go. See all that green? So I got no stereo, no tunes until I get this fixed up. So no big deal. I'll go to a junkyard, just snip these ends and take a whole amp, and we'll be back in business. I'm just gonna leave it factory. That factory piece of shit, I really don't care. It's been all undercoated real well. No, you know, there's no rust on it. And then, so that's that. That's the one other issue. And then the very final issue, because you see this thing's in actually really good condition. Tires aren't very good. Not a big deal. I got tires on order for it. The BF Goodrich All-Terrains, I really like them. Here's the only other issue. Somebody fucking cheesed the door with Bondo. And you can see a little bit of rust coming now on the bottom. Probably because somebody was grinding on it, but I almost wonder if somebody hit something, because it's only this door. Everything else is perfect. Like, every other door is completely perfect. It's just this one. I don't know if somebody hit something with it and fucking wrinkled it or what, but not a big deal. I'm gonna grind it down and fix that up. And then there's this nice body line here, so we'll just tape it off on both sides from this body line down and just do a black bed liner on it. And that leaves nice protection anyways, because, you know, I'm always digging my doors into shit anyway, so that's what happens when you have kids. So there we go. Like I said, tires are pretty shitty, but it is what it is. Puppy and I are gonna hop in here now. We're gonna rip over to the gas station. I better get my dealer plate, throw that on there. Don't want to get turbo. Oh, tiny little dent. Oh, tiny little dent. Oh well. And it needs front pads for brakes. No big deal. But all in all, puppy, what do you think? It's a pretty good buy. 4 grand, hey? Not so bad. 4 grand. Not bad. And yeah, she runs and drives beautiful. So now that we got that figured out, let's go get her warmed up, and then we'll get to the last part of the video here, which will be the final diagnostics, I guess. Once I get it up to operating temp, bring it back, quickly pull a glow plug out, and we'll put a key on and just make sure that it's not running the glow plugs constantly, and we're golden. We'll be golden. Fuck, I wish I had a voltmeter with me. That'd be a lot easier. Faster too. Alright, so I just ran up to the hardware store and picked up this piddly little piece of shit. Well, my ground fell off, but you see, it works anyways for what we need to do. 14.8 volts, so she's charging nicely. I pulled a lead off right there for the glow plug, and I'm pretty sure, I have no idea why anybody would have wired this the way they did. Unless they did it a long time ago and then the problem was fixed and it just didn't get undone. I have no idea. This glow plug controller, surprisingly, is actually still working, seems to be working just fine, considering I poured water out of it and somebody had opened it in the past. But anyways, all that aside. Okay, there's no check engine light. And there would be if there was power going to that glow plug right now, because it would come up and say there was a glow plug fault. Which means I think everything's working the way it's supposed to be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to touch the ground there, and then I'm going to stick my terminal in there, and we'll measure for power. Hopefully this thing will kind of stay. And then I'm probably not going to be able to do this with holding the camera. Okay, so you can see I've definitely got good ground. I got 0 volts, and I am right on the pin. I opened the back of the plug right up so that I could get right on that and be extra sure. And there is absolutely no voltage coming through there, which means it's not, you know, running when it's not supposed to be. And obviously it's working because it's starting and really great now when it was ice cold. So again, I have no idea why somebody would have wired it up the way they did. Absolutely stupid. So that's awesome. That's one more thing fixed. That didn't cost anything. Just had to undo somebody's fucking retarded fuckery just to verify that our multimeter's still working. Yep, there we go. Perfect. So I can't even believe this module is actually working. You heard me shake it. It's loose inside, and I poured water out of it, but apparently it's working just fine. And like I said, we got no engine light. It's good and toasty in there. Now I got a fucking toggle switch here that does nothing. Stupid. Let's just shut her off. And then, yeah, real quick flash of the glow plug light. Still no engine light. Perfect. Beep. Beep, beep. Beep, beep in my Jeep. And this is, the resistance is way at the top. Probably doesn't work. It's probably seized up. That's okay. I'll pull it all apart and fix that. And I gotta throw front brakes on it. They're getting a little grindy. Yeah, that outboard pad's almost gone. The inboard pad is gone, so anyway. Ready, guys? I'm gonna get cleaned up and tidy up and head inside where it's warm and party on. Alrighty, cheers and beers. Actually, beer, that's a good idea. Alrighty, let's have a beer. All that hard work deserves a nice cold beer on a cold day. What do you think, puppy? Well, there's only one thing left to do. Yeah. There's only one thing left to do to the Jeep. Perfect.